Hey there, Ben. Hope you're having a good day today. This is your video lesson. Let's see here. 1, 2, 3, 4 things I want to talk about. I'll go down the list. And then if you have questions at the end, feel free to shoot another message over or have your parents send me any questions. So cool. Let's get to it. All right, so first thing is, I think I watched the videos out of order, but that's okay. Howbook 38. That is this one here. Let's see here. That's the G, D7, C, and D7's changes. I was watching you play through it. What I saw was, it was looking good, there's a slight delay between the D7. Oops, wrong sound. Let's turn that distortion off. We'll say that for Highway to Hell. I was watching you play. I was watching you playing it. And when you played the D7, right? There was a little bit of like a lag between the D7 and the C going here. So instead of hearing this, I heard that little hiccup in there. What that was, I was watching your hands carefully, and what it was your ring finger and your middle finger didn't go exactly where they were supposed to right away. They kind of took like a little detour. It wasn't a big detour, but it was enough to get in your way. Showing you what that looked like, it was this. So kind of trying to replicate it. 2, 3, 4. When you go to like the second finger did like a little dance and then it landed here, and then the third finger did a little dance and then it landed right here. So what I would do to fix that is when you strum the D7 and when you switch to the C chord, just do it slow a few times. So that way, watch these two right here and you go right to where they're supposed to go every single time. So go slowly and make sure you're placing them right exactly where you want them to be. So that way they're not taking any detours over here. So D7, switch to the C chord, and these two land right where they're supposed to go. Right, so work on that for me, making sure that they're not going any sideways or anything like that. Next thing is Highway to Hell. So for that one, I'll play clean tone first, and I'll turn on distortion. Maybe hopefully Santa Claus will get you electric guitar if that's the style that you're more interested in than acoustic guitar. But you can play Highway to Hell on electric guitar or on acoustic guitar. So the first thing is the E7 chord. Kind of reviewing real quick on the new chords that we have that you're to memorize for this time, which is the E5, the A5, the D5, and the G5. We want to get those down rock solid. That way we start developing a really good bar finger for our full bars we're going to do later on in level 2. So awesome. So the first thing is the E5, right? Just a quick review is your bar across strings 5 and 4 here. But you're not hitting strings 3, 2, and 1, right? A5 is that same shape. Remember that you're pointing at yourself, right? You have a steep pyramid, right? You're not down here like this, right? It's a steep pyramid like this right here. So if you look this way, my pyramid is actually pretty steep, right? If you were to do this, right? It looks like that. There you go. Quack, quack. All right, so steep pyramid. You're pointing at yourself, right? Right, it's not straight up and down, you're pointing at yourself. Get strings 5, 4, and 3. 5 is open, 4 is fretted, 3 is fretted. Right? So those are the two bar chords right there. So the first thing in the pre-chorus is that it's 2 measures long of the E5. It sounds like this. All downstrokes, 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and. Right? And what that sounds like with distortion sounds like this. 4 and 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and, right? So that's the pre-chorus, that's what that needs. For the chorus, it's gonna follow the vocal line, the highway to hell, ba 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 bum bum, right? Those hits there. So the first part, the A5, is gonna be following the vocal line. It's gonna sound like this. A5 first, remember you're pointing at yourself, steep bar finger, steep pyramid finger. Highway to hell, D, D, open, G, D, 5, right? So A, B. I would practice just that transition going A5, A5, D5, A5, D5. All right, get a little chest cold here. A5 to D5, right? Highway to hell, G, A5, D5. A little faster. A, D, 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 open, G, D. I'll just say the letter names, not the 5, but understand that they're all 5s. There's a, D, 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 open, G, D. All right. So the first thing to practice would be to practice the A5 to the D5, back and forth. And then the other one you want to practice is the G5 to the D5. Now what that looks like, now if you notice when I did that, look at my ring finger here. So you see it's nice and tall. So I try to keep this the same between those two chords. So that's a transition I would practice too. By watching your fingers, look like everything kind of flew off and then you put everything back down. But you want to keep that ring finger down. It's kind of tricky at first, but then after you get it down, you wonder why you did it any other way. One more time. A, D, 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 open. Repeats that a few times. Cool. Work on that for me. Number 3 is Hell Book 39. That is the C to G7 to C. So I saw you play, you did this. You did G, not G7. If you flip over to page 17, here at the top, you'll locate that G7 chord. It's right there. Right? And it looks like this. It's kind of like a split C chord. So we can do the C chord, right? And then you go to the G7. These two fingers here will move up, right? And then the first finger will move down. So we're moving a contrary motion. So these two are moving up. This one's moving down. So here's C, G7. So moving those fingers simultaneously backwards between each other. Right. So that was really the big thing with 39. It wasn't necessarily the rhythm of it. It was just like make sure you're playing the right chord shape. And then, lastly, Hell Book 32. That one right there, good. Make sure that the quarter notes are even. I'm not sure if you're just kind of like just getting a fresh start with it, but make sure that you have G, F, E, F, E, D, B to G, because those are half notes. So make sure those quarter notes are going 1, 2, 3, 4, and that you're not elongating any of them. I think the first one you played, I think it was like G, F, E, F. So that's a common thing people will do. They'll take like the first couple notes of a piece and like stretch them out, and then the piece will kind of go into proper rhythm. But make sure that's starting on beat 3 and 4. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, like that. Really, that was the big thing, making sure you keep the rhythm steady. Other thing I would recommend doing in this 32 as well is trying to hear where a good stopping point would be. Music to me always has punctuation, periods and commas, right? Where does the melody stop for a second? Where does the melody feel like it's done, right? It's kind of like I'm talking and I stopped mid-sentence, right? It didn't feel natural there. But as I finish this sentence, it does feel natural because I had a complete idea. See, music is the same way. You're not going to have half ideas in here in this kind of music, right? When we get into fragmentation, that's a little different story. But for right now, these melodies are all going to be complete ideas. So if I play this first line here, right? Seems like a nice place to stop. Then a good place to stop. So what I would do, I would practice just that first phrase. So just these first 2 complete measures. So I would just practice this by itself, and then I would practice this by itself, making sure that they sounded smooth and you're connecting one note to the next. So that's my advice on those 3 things right there, or actually it ended up being 4. So cool. And then what we'll do next, so if you, like I said, if you want me to take another look at Highway to Hell, feel free to shoot another video over and make sure you get the timing down correct. Make sure to listen to it a lot too. That way you'll get the feel of the song as well. Cool, man. Any other questions? Feel free to shoot it over. If not, have a great Thanksgiving, and I will see you same time next time. Take care.